Hi, I'm Bruce Berry. I'm the U.S. distributor for Pro Sport Fisher products. Today we're going to do a short tutorial on classic tubing. It's extruded. We're going to show you the sizes, which sizes made together, how to mate them together so they stay put together, and some of the benefits of the classic tubing system. Okay, so to get going, here's a good representation of some classic tubes in different sizes. The first one we start with, and these all come in 6-packs, so everybody knows, you end up with 1.2 meters of tubing per package, so it's a very economical way to tie flies. The first one is classic small. That's an outside diameter of 1.2 millimeters. The next one would be the medium, so we'll go over to medium. That's a 2.2 outside diameter, and the small will nest inside the medium when you're putting them together. Our next size goes to large. We'll cruise over here, and large is a 3.3 outside diameter. Medium mates to large. So fairly simple system. Small mates to medium, medium mates to large, and then you can do some color mixing and matching. Some of the cool stuff is if you'd want to maybe do like a green butt skunk style of intruder, you can start with your green butt here in the junction and then just tie the rest of your intruder. Or, you know, there's 23 different colors of medium, 23 different colors of large, 7 colors of small, so you can really mix and match and do some pretty neat stuff with them. I think that's one of the big benefits of our classic system. Okay, now for the important part, and this is the main reason for doing the tutorial, is how to put the classic pieces together. Today we're going to use medium and large, and this is actually going to end up being kind of a tutorial inside a tutorial. This is a standard flexi needle. I've got a Regal tipped up a little bit. That's how I like to tie on the Pro system, and that's a full 110 millimeters of length. Not many people know when they run into different styles of tying that you can actually manipulate this and cut it at will. So if you look at what we're doing today, I'm going to take these classic tubing pieces and cut them into 25/25s and mate them together. So it's 25 millimeters, 25 millimeters. And you can see how much of that nose is hanging off of a standard needle. So what I did to make my life easier in tying production and going faster is I cut quite a bit off the back end of that 110 millimeter needle and maybe, I don't know, close to a ½ inch off the front. So once you're done putting these together, it makes it much easier to put your whip finish on it and bind it together. So you may find that you want a couple of needles, especially for the classic system. I really like this little snub needle that I built specifically for it. So with that said, we're going to get right to putting some of these together. And there's a couple of ways, kind of a European style way and maybe more of a US style way. So let me get rid of this guy. Okay, so now for the actual burn part of the whole deal. There's my junction. And we're going to go with a couple of hot colors so you can see what's going on. I've got fluorescent orange and fluorescent pink. This tube combination would be something that I would tie a winterized hope on, maybe a shrimpish rambulance. And here's how to put them together. We're going to do the way I like to do it first, or prefer to do it. I'm going to take the medium size, which is the smaller of the two you're mating, and well up a little plastic ball using the blue part of a flame. And I can see when I get done with that it's really clear, so I want to give that a few seconds to let the plastic reconstitute. And that's looking pretty good. It's getting a little bit milky. Okay, so now that you've got that done, I want to take your junction, slide it over. So that's large, that's my junction, medium, that's my tying surface. And then I want to just gently pull that in. And I might let 5 or so millimeters of an overlay. Okay. I'm going to take that set up, slide it onto the needle. And then we whip these two together. Generally I like a white 3/0 thread, which I left at home today, so we're using black 6/0. Whoops. Okay. Start the thread. And I don't know about being nice and neat, but I guess I like to be nice and neat. I have touching wraps. And now you can see that bump start to form in there as I compress the tubing together. And we're going to go forward. Fairly quickly you're ready to tie. That's the finished tube, and there'll be no pulling that apart. I guess if you really put pressure on it, you could probably get that tube to slide that way, but once you tie the fly, everything's locked together. I've got my tying surface. Again, medium fits all of our weights, discs, and cones. The large is something I'm going to use for a junction, and you can either tie a clinch knot and pull a hook in the back of the junction, or you can run a loop knot into the smaller diameter and fish a loop knot to a octopus style hook. So there's a classic system mated together. Now we're going to show you one other way, which is what a lot of the European guys are doing. Okay, so the second way to mate tubes together, either small to medium or medium to large with our Pro system, and this seems to be the preferred Scandinavian or European style. So what we're going to do is just lay the tube onto the needle, come in with a razor blade, and make a nice steep angled cut. Let me clean that up with scissors just a little bit. And what that does is it allows this tube to collapse and really bite into the small size medium tube we're about to put on here. So again, we're going with hot color so you can see the demonstration. I've pre-burned a little well into that plastic, and we want to slide these two together and overlay that just a few millimeters, not nearly as much as I did with the other straight cut style. So it's maybe 5 millimeters, maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. Okay, so again, we're going to get rid of this excess that I know I don't need, and now we're going to whip them together. We'll start at the steep angle or bologna cut. I like to get in there and pinch them tight as I'm putting the wraps together on this. Now we're climbing up onto the junction, and we stop just in front of the bump that we burned in. Cover that with some thread wraps. So two different styles achieve the same effect. And what you guys may have noticed is that with both styles, the angle cut and the straight cut, we didn't use any glues or adhesives. These plastics are specially formulated. They're fairly soft plastics. In fact, this medium junction will take a size 2 or a size 1 hook. It'll actually expand quite a ways. And that's so that these stay very pliable in cold conditions. They don't get brittle and crack. And there's really no glue necessary for these guys. Just welling up a heat bump, whipping them together, and even if you find a glue that does work on it, it's probably most likely an unnecessary step to put classic tubing together. So there's a tutorial. Thanks for taking a few minutes and watching this, and I hope you have fun with the Pro Classic Tubing system.